Hello guys, and welcome back to Getting Started with LabVIEW. And today's example, we will look into the date time function in LabVIEW. Just like any other programming language, we often use to manipulate date and time, and we can actually obtain the date and time system through using the OS computer itself. Now, the easiest way to actually view time is to go into the block diagram and navigate to timing palette. In the timing palette, you can find several functions here. Now, let's say if you want to display the current time, the first thing you need to do is you need to go to the get date time in seconds. And when you place this on the block diagram, you can see that it actually returns the current output, and the output here is actually the timestamp. Now, what we mean by timestamp is that if you look into the timestamp constant here, for example, it actually returns the actual time together with the format of the year. So let's try to create an indicator here, and we can actually see that we get the current time. Let's place this here, and if I try to run this, you can see that as I try to run, the time actually moves. So the only way for me to visualize how the time actually moves is by showing it in a while loop. So let's put a while loop here, and let's put a constant to let the while loop continuously run. And now if we try to run, you can see that the current time is currently being displayed in this way, where you get the seconds, minutes, hours, and of course the date. Now, what if you want to split this timestamp into a time string and date string? To do that, you just need to use this function here, which is the get date time string, where it actually split the timestamp into its respective date and time. So it actually requires the input of the timestamp. So let's move this here. Let's put in the timestamp here as an input, and now we need to create an indicator for string, which is the date time, and for time. So let's say if I were to put this here, and let me extend this, now you can see that it is actually displaying the time and the date as a separate string. Now if I want to show seconds, this function also shows seconds. Here you can see that it actually has a boolean value input, which is do you want a second. So let's create a control here that I do want a second and display it whenever I feel like I want to. Let's run it here, and if I press yes, I want second, then it shows the second in the string. And also you can even display the format on how do you want the date format to be. To do this, you can see the date format here, and if you try to create a control, it will actually create an enum. You can create an enum where it has several formats, and if you try to just press here without running the code, you can see it actually returns 3 different formats, which is the short, long, and abbreviated. So let's try this and see. So the short date would be in 21/02 2025, and if I were to choose long, it will actually return me the day as well, together with the long version of February 21st. And abbreviated, of course, will be the slightly shorter form of the Friday, February 21st 2025. Now let's say if I want to get this particular timestamp in a way where I could actually access each of this time value. To do that, you go to the timing palette here, and you can see in here you can actually have a function here called seconds to date time. What it does, it actually takes in the timestamp as an input. Let me put it here, the timestamp here as an input, and it actually returns the date time in the form of cluster. So if I create an indicator, you can see it actually returns here in the form of cluster. This way you will be able to access each of the second, minute, hour, month, year, and of course the every component values of the date time. So now you can see that you can actually get the fractional second, you can actually get the seconds, minute, and with this function you would be able to manipulate if you want to use date or time function in your programming code. So this actually pretty much shows the overview on how to get the date and time function in LabVIEW. This will be concluded in part 1.